Hello and welcome to our Facebook Live for the Master of Public Health degree in Nutrition. I'm Brett Otis, the Communications Coordinator in the Department of Nutrition, and I'm joined here today by Emily Davies, the Academic Program Manager for the MPH program, and Vasanti Malik, a Research Scientist in the Department of Nutrition and Faculty Director for the Nutrition field of study. I'm about to head off camera to keep an eye on your questions as they come in, but before we begin, Emily and Vasanti, can you just give us a brief overview of the MPH program and some key points about this nutrition field of study?
Sure. So the MPH 65 is a 65 credit program completed over 1.5 years plus a summer intensive practicum experience. Applicants apply to one of 6 specialized fields of study. The MPH 65 is a fairly new program with our first class recently graduating this past year and our 3rd cohort that started this fall. As the program grows, we're really excited to be able to offer this new field of study in nutrition.
And Nutrition is very happy to be joining the MPH 65. So this new field of study, nutrition, is designed to provide students with skills in nutrition practice, policy, and communication, along with foundational knowledge in nutritional science, epidemiology, and public health. Specifically, the program will explore the role nutrition plays in the health and well-being of populations across the globe from a variety of vantage points, recognizing the vast array of influences on diet, nutrition, and health, including environmental, socioeconomic, political, and cultural factors.
All right, thank you both. So to kick off some Q&A, I'll start with some questions that we received ahead of time. The first question is, who should apply to this program, and about what stage of their career should they be in?
Sure. So the MPH 65 in nutrition is suitable for those both early in their careers or those more established in their careers who wish to develop further expertise in nutrition and also to gain a broad foundation in public health. Prospective students will need to have a bachelor's degree from an accredited institution and at least 2 years of post-baccalaureate work experience by the time that they would start the MPH program. So for those applying this fall, that would be 2 years of work experience needed by fall 2019. Work experience should be relevant to the field of public health and must be obtained after completing the bachelor's degree. Previous coursework in the biological sciences is preferred but not required.
That's great. And Vasanti, about how long will this program take to complete?
Right, so the program is typically full-time and runs for 1.5 years, which is 3 semesters. It starts in September and concludes in December of the following year. And students typically complete their practicum during the summer.
Thanks for that, Vasanti. And what kind of careers might students pursue after graduating with this degree?
So that's a great question. So the career options after graduating from the nutrition field of study are quite broad. And it really ranges across a spectrum, so ranging from state and local agencies to federal and international public health agencies, NGO organizations, nonprofit and charitable organizations or donor aid agencies, the healthcare industry, the food industry, as well as entrepreneurship or research coordination. So again, very broad and numerous options.
That's great. And for those of you who have just joined, we're here taking your questions live about the Master of Public Health degree in nutrition. Our next question is this a accredited dietetics program, or does it fulfill requirements to become a registered dietitian?
So currently, no, it doesn't. But I think given the multiple interests in our courses, so the focus on communication, the practical elements, as well as the foundational knowledge, I think this program will be of interest to dietitians as well.
That's great. And so a large component of this program is the practicum experience. So could you kind of describe some opportunities that students may pursue through that experience?
Right, so again, similar to the types of career options that are available for students after they graduate that are quite broad, the practicum options are also quite broad and cover a variety of interests such as culinary nutrition, national and federal feeding programs, community nutrition, and global health. Topics may also involve opportunities within Harvard-affiliated teaching hospitals. Students are, of course, also able to bring their own practicum topics if they do have them. And for those who don't and who are worried about finding a practicum, we have a lot of resources available to help students identify practicums, and we actually have a practice course that helps prepare students for their practicum experience.
And so kind of continuing on that topic of life after graduating from this program, is this one that would prepare a student for a doctoral degree program afterwards?
So that's a great question as well. So that really depends on the nature of the practicum or if the student opts to do an independent study. So typically the MPH program is a professional degree, but if a student decides to do a research-focused practicum or engages in an independent study with a research base, they can certainly opt to pursue a PhD in the future.
Terrific. It might be helpful to talk a little bit about the support that a student would receive through this program. So from academic advising to other type of support. Could you talk a little bit about that?
Sure. So in terms of academic advising, upon entry to the program, each student will be paired with a Harvard-affiliated academic advisor who will provide academic guidance and assist them with course selection. Students may also be able to work with other faculty based on their interests. And advising actually occurs with a core group of 5 faculty, and they're set up to work with the students, and these faculty have an intimate knowledge of the program. So they're certainly able to provide students with a great deal of resources to support their career.
There's also other advising and guidance that would come from the MPH Program Office, housed in the Office of Education, as well as from the academic administrators in the nutrition department. So overall, in addition to your faculty academic advisor, there's a pretty big team of folks that are always willing and happy to help guide students on their journey while they're here pursuing their MPH program.
I just actually wanted to add one point. There might be some confusion about whether your academic advisor is your practicum advisor, and so that may or may not be the case. So you might have your academic advisor serve as your practicum advisor, but you also might have a practicum advisor from elsewhere, depending on your project.
That's great. So we just had a question come in kind of in terms of, what students can do with this degree once they leave the program.
Mm-hmm.
This question asks, for overseas students, can they implement the knowledge gained from the course after graduation in their home countries and abroad? For example, this person is from Sudan, and she was hoping that they could help the current situation concerning malnutrition.
Oh, that's a great question. So most definitely. So the way our program is set up is students are able to select electives that are within their area of interest, and one of the areas of interest is global health. So if a specific student is interested in applying specific methods or information learned from the school, they could certainly opt to do focused electives in global health, which would give them the tools to do just that.
That's great, thank you. And for those, again, who just joined, just a reminder, you can leave your questions in the chat and we'll be happy to answer them here live. So our next question is the size of the program, both the MPH program itself and then this nutrition field of study.
Sure, so we are hoping to enroll around 12 new students in the nutrition field of study this next fall. But it is just one field of study among 5 others in the MPH 65 program, where we enrolled around 75 new students this past academic year. And in the MPH 45 program, which is a 9-month shorter program, plus the MPH in epidemiology, we enrolled around 320 new students this past year. The program is also fairly diverse in terms of our international representation. Around 39% of our MPH students this year are international students, and we also have a pretty wide geographic representation from students from states across the U.S. In terms of the core courses, the integrated biostatistics and epidemiology courses, as well as ID 216, which is the foundational public health course, students would be in those courses with each other. So MPH 65 students are in those classes with MPH 45 students. But in your cohort classes, your field of study required classes, they would often be a little bit smaller and they might have more of a cohort feel.
So that actually prompts our next question that just came in. What do you think sets this MPH program apart from other nutrition-related graduate programs?
Right, so I think one of the real strengths of our program is the dual focus on practical courses such as communication and translation, as well as the foundational knowledge in nutrition, so public health, epidemiology, nutritional sciences. We also have a great faculty with diverse expertise, which the students would definitely learn a lot from, and we have numerous opportunities for practicum projects as well. So I think those three areas really lend to the strength of our specific program.
And then kind of on that thread, talk a little bit more about the Harvard experience. Could students take courses at other Harvard schools, sort of along those lines?
Sure, it's actually one of the really neat aspects of being a student at Harvard is the opportunity to cross-register for courses at some of the other Harvard graduate schools, MIT, and Tufts Fletcher School of Law and Diplomacy, and the Friedman School of Nutrition Science and Policy. It's a really great opportunity to explore courses in some of the other schools and learn from students who are in other programs, but also be able to contribute from the public health and nutrition perspective. Sometimes it can be a bit logistically challenging, so students might do a handful of cross-registered courses throughout their time here.
Great. So turning more to the application process, can you clarify a bit more about the 2 years of experience requirement for this degree, and then what kind of experience are you looking for?
So the 2 years of experience that's 2 years post your bachelor degree. And so this is, again, really broad in the nature and definition of relevant work experience. Again, it's broad, and you can make the case on how your experience applies to public health, and a great place to do that would be in your statement of purpose and objectives for your application. So it's really the opportunity for the student to craft their own narrative there.
Great. And then what else are you looking for in terms of a strong application?
Sure, so we have several components of the application. We could talk a bit about the GRE. So faculty reviewers are looking for strong quantitative ability. In the other fields of study, most successful applicants typically have scores in the 55th to 60th percentile or higher in the quantitative section of the GRE, but the verbal and writing scores tend to vary. We do have a lot of international applicants, and the faculty reviewers take that into consideration. There are no GRE score cutoffs. If a student has maybe a bit of a lower GRE quantitative score, we would just look for evidence of strong performance in possibly undergraduate math courses or statistics courses.
So again, it's really a holistic approach. So the admissions committee will read all of the applications and really take all of these various components into consideration when evaluating the applications to have an overall holistic picture of each applicant.
And we just received a question, what scholarship and funding opportunities are available?
For the MPH program, there's a limited amount of funding scholarship support from the MPH program. You would need to make sure that you apply separately for financial aid and do so by the priority deadline, which will be posted on the website. That funding is awarded based on a combination of merit and need, and the most common award would be a quarter tuition.
Great. Is housing available for students here on the School of Public Health campus?
So all students are responsible for finding their own housing, but we do have the Office for Student Affairs that is a really great resource and provides students with a lot of support in finding housing. There's one property called Shattuck House that is owned by the Harvard Chan School and managed by the school, and it's about a 10-minute walk from campus. It's apartment-style living, and there's a lot of communal activities, and students who live there really seem to enjoy it as part of their experience. Other students live in other Harvard housing properties. In Fenway, maybe a 15-minute walk away, there's a Trilogy and then other students live across the river in Cambridge and other Harvard graduate housing, and yet other students choose to live off campus. And on the Student Affairs website, they have a really great housing resource list of all the different options in terms of both on-campus housing options and also off-campus resources and tips as well.
That's great. So what's the difference between an MPH degree and a Master of Science degree that the school also offers?
Right, so the MPH degree is a professional degree, whereas the Master of Science degree is a research-focused degree. And one of the differences with the MPH, you do a practicum, whereas with the Master of Science, you do a thesis. And the MPH also has coursework in foundational public health areas, which is not the case for the Master of Science.
Great, thank you. So we're about to close out pretty soon for our live Q&A here today. If anybody has any last questions, feel free to leave those in the chat around now or shortly. But I guess just to recap kind of our conversation today, can you just once again go over some of those general points about the MPH program and then this focus area or focus study area in nutrition?
Sure. So nutrition is a new field of study within the MPH 65 credit program. It's a 1.5-year program with a summer intensive practicum experience. We're hoping to enroll around 12 new students next fall in this new field of study, and we're really excited to be expanding the program.
Right, and so just to recap, the program in nutrition, the new field of study, is designed to provide students with skills in nutrition practice, policy, and communication, along with foundational knowledge in nutritional science, epidemiology, and public health. And I think this is one of the reasons that makes this program so unique. The program specifically explores nutrition, the role of nutrition in health and well-being across the globe from a variety of perspectives. And so another unique aspect of our program is that we offer focused areas for electives, such as global health, policy, society and human health and behavior. And so students are able to select electives based on their interests, and we support that.
That's great. We did just have a question kind of along those lines about courses. Could you kind of describe maybe just a few sample courses and how many of them might be epidemiology related?
Right, so all students in the MPH 65 program take a joint core course on biostatistics and epidemiology. And then in addition to that, students would take a Nutrition 201, which is an introductory to public health nutrition. That's really a survey course that introduces students to a lot of topics such as nutrition policy, nutrition and planetary health, nutrition epidemiology, and so it's sort of introducing students to these areas, and then they can take specific courses in those areas as well. So they take that. They take Nutrition 202, which is a nutrition biochemistry metabolism course. They will also take a number of electives and their practice course. And again, the electives can be focused on an area of interest. So public health nutrition, policy, global health, planetary health, and society and behavior.
And we have a link to some of the courses that are being prepared for this degree, and we will link those within the chat shortly. Also, alongside of the practicum opportunities, this individual asks about opportunities for integrating nutrition and agriculture in their practicum experience.
Right, I think that would definitely be an interesting practicum. And so one of our focused areas for electives is exactly nutrition and planetary health, so that would fall nicely into that area. And there are faculty who are working in this area who would be able to help a student identify a practicum in that area.
Great. So before we wrap up here, can you just once again kind of state your opinion about what makes this MPH program so unique?
Sure. I think one of the really key features of our program are the students. We hear from current students all the time about how much they learn from their peers and how impressed they are with the quality of the students in their cohort. And they really become lifelong friends and colleagues, and it can lead to opportunities down the line that they might not have anticipated. Harvard has a really strong network, and just all of the Harvard resources and talks and different events and things that go on here, and you're really able to kind of plug in and engage for the time that you're here and experience all that Harvard has to offer.
Great. And so in terms of the nutrition field of study, it's really the combination of courses that's being designed to give practical experience as well as the academic component. Strong, diverse faculty from a variety of fields. The electives are, as well as practicum, can be tailored to your career goals. We have a number of practicum options, faculty who are doing local work and global work, so there's opportunity to work in a variety of arenas. And of course, the depth of Harvard's course offerings and opportunity to cross-register at the different schools is another unique aspect to our program.
That's great. Thank you so much, Vasanti and Emily. And thank you all for joining this live Q&A. If you have any additional questions that we didn't get to answer through this live chat, please be sure to email the MPH program directly at mph@hsph.harvard.edu. And thank you so much for joining, and we hope to hear from you.
Great. Thank you.
Thank you.